What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Fireside Knicks. I'm Dylan, and today we got some very special guests on us today. We got, the guys from the Knicks Morning Brew. We got these guys on tap today for us, and yeah, let's just get started. So the Knicks obviously won their last game. The game doesn't really matter for like standings or any of that, but they still made some history. They had Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes all score 30 plus and hit 5+ threes for a brief moment of time. No trio had ever done that, and then the Pelicans ended up doing it an hour later. So now two teams did it in one day. But regardless, that was still very, very exciting to see. And just to kind of start it off, I guess we're kind of just going to go around the room, and we'll start with Hector first. What is your take on that last game with Grimes, Quickley, and Toppin?
Man, it was phenomenal. Like you said, first time all season that happened for a trio. The Pelicans did it afterwards. But when it comes to our Knicks, it's the third time in franchise history and the first time since the 70s that a trio has been able to pull it off. But the most impressive thing about it is it wasn't our big three. It wasn't RJ. It wasn't Julius, right? It wasn't Jalen. It was Obi. It was IQ. And it was Quentin Grimes. Seeing those young guys towards the end of the season build up their confidence, the growth, right? You could tell the veteran leadership from Jalen Brunson, the coaching staff with Johnny Bryan, with Jalen Brunson's father, and Tom Thibodeau, the effect that is having on these kids. Emmanuel Quickley has took a step and a leap so far big this season. And when it comes to Obi Toppin, what more can you say? We've been praying that the Knicks finally play the young players, and they actually are doing it. I'm gonna throw it over to my brother Phil. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so no shade to the Pelicans, but first I want to say that I'm pretty sure one of their guys only got to that 30-point because they went into overtime. So if we're going to talk about actual history, let's talk about regulation in our New York Knicks.
Just a little petty.
A little petty. But what I want to say is that even though there wasn't a lot riding on this game when it comes to our position, win-loss column, whatever, what it does do for us, it shows us that we have a lot more in our bag than what we actually think. Like, we are so set in how things have been all season that I think that we've missed what could be as well. And so for me, the more we have, the better. What's the point in having all these tools, all these resources if we never use them? This shows us what we could use going into the playoffs. We could now switch things up and make things a lot harder for teams to contend with us. So it was great to see Obi Toppin in his bag. It was great to see some of the things that Quentin Grimes has been working on actually come to fruition. That confidence that's there is insane. And being able to just see Emmanuel Quickley continue to deliver. One stat we cannot forget is that all these guys were at 57% field goal percentage or more in that. So it wasn't just that they got numbers, but they got numbers and did so efficiently.
Facts. Well, real quick, Dylan, man, appreciate you. Backstage, Ryan, a.k.a. we're going to officially call him Johnny Bryant, running the controls and taking care of everything, and love what you guys are doing here at Fireside Knicks, man. So we appreciate the invite, hanging out with you guys. But let's be real. Everybody's focused on the points, right? That's awesome. But let's also talk about the fact that between those three guys, we're talking 20 assists that night. How you doing? I'll take 20 assists from three guys all day, every day. And then on top of that, we talk about three guys that added 15 rebounds to it. So, yeah, the points are great, but the ball movement, the rebound, seeing them gel as a team, it gets me excited, man. And that night, I don't care that the Pelicans did it. Congratulations. I don't understand why, as New York fans, we can only enjoy that moment for 1 hour before a new article came out. But it was exciting, man, to be able to see Obi really be able to, that step back three was amazing. Just the ball movement. We've got a squad, guys. And, there's a lot more smiles on Knicks fans this time around than we have seen in the last year or two. So super excited what they did, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was definitely exciting. And, before we hop into the next topic, the last game was so exciting. I kind of jumped the gun a little bit. How about you guys introduce yourselves a little bit, and you guys just, tell people where you guys can find you guys and stuff like that. Introduce you guys.
Yeah, well, Hector, I host Knicks Morning Brew, Yankees Morning. Well, I host Knicks Morning Brew with my two brothers down there, and I host Yankees Morning Brew as well. I do a lot of work with NYY News TV. We got a show over there called Get Yanked. We'll be calling the game later on today, game season live. So shout out to those guys over there. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, Project Nerd HQ, or Yanks Brew KOD on Twitter. Go ahead, Phil. Phil doesn't have a Twitter because James Dolan got his Twitter removed this season. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah. Too many Fire Tibbs tweets got me, taken off. So I'm Phil. I host with Heck and my brother Jigga. Hector's my brother from another mother. Jigga's my brother from my real mother. And so I don't have a Twitter, but I typically run our organization Twitter, which is at Brew Crew Sports _. So all the rants that you see, all the pro OB tweets, those are all mine. And so, yeah, you can follow me there. And then when you see something that sounds a little more level-headed, that's typically because Jigga or Hector took over the Twitter for the day.
Facts.
Okay, I just introduced myself as the level-headed guy of the trio. But yeah, Jigga Porto is what I go by, and that's because, let's be real, my first name is Celso Jose Porto. Way easier to go with Jigga Man Porto than Kelso, right? But work with Knights of Degen. We're a sports and betting community, NFT project, RPG gaming. We built KOD Media and kind of brought Brew Crew Sports to life. And it's open doors to be able to hang out with guys like you, Dylan. And again, man, really appreciate you guys bringing us on here today. Yeah. And anytime we can talk Knicks with people we actually like, it's such an easy day for me, all right? So happy Friday.
100%.
No, yeah, absolutely. And, thank you guys, of course, for coming on here. So, as we move on here to the next topic, obviously there's been some exciting things in the Knicks this week, obviously the Obi Toppin, Grimes and all that this week. But there was also some weird stuff, with the Mavericks this week. First it was Luka Doncic saying that, they miss Jalen Brunson a lot. Teams kind of falling out of the plan, so they're talking about Brunson all of a sudden again. And then like the next day, Mark Cuban went ahead and pretty much blamed Rick Brunson for this happening, which is, kind of odd because me personally, if I'm Mark Cuban, I would just kind of admit that I messed up and not really went ahead and signed the player that you wanted to keep. I don't think it's really a good idea to kind of turn around and admit you're wrong when there's 3 games left in the season and you're pretty much this close to falling out of the playoff race. That's kind of immature in my opinion. It doesn't seem right. I mean, I don't really think he should have done that. I think he's pointing the wrong finger at Rick. I don't think that's really fair, because who's to say Rick Brunson wouldn't have come to the Knicks anyway, even if Jalen went ahead and signed with Dallas?
Facts.
Who's to say that? And plus Dallas had many opportunities to keep Jalen Brunson. They had him for 4 years. They had many opportunities during the season to extend him or sign him, in previous offseason, whatever. They had many opportunities. They missed out. They didn't do anything about it. They missed out on their chance. The Knicks took advantage of that. Yeah, there was obviously some bit of tampering stuff. I think we all know that. But, at the end of the day, the Mavs still had more opportunities than just this past offseason. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just like the Knicks the Mavs only had this past offseason to sign. No, they had many opportunities. So blaming Rick Brunson, in my opinion, was not, really right. I don't think that's justified. I kind of want to hear you guys' take on that. What do you think of Mark Cuban going after Rick Brunson like that?
Man, for me, if people follow me on Twitter, one of the hobbies or pastimes that I like to indulge in is collecting billionaires' tears, right? And seeing Mark Cuban cry this week, it's a little jar of unicorn tears, right? When it comes down to the situation, like you said, Dylan, he had several opportunities to re-sign Jalen Brunson. You had opportunities first season, second season, third season when he started emerging and those rumors around the trade deadline. And then last year, this offseason, had the opportunity to sign Jalen Brunson, didn't do it. He fumbled the bag. And when you have Luka Doncic starting to get upset because of the chaos that's going over there, you got to start pointing fingers, right? And it's easy to point fingers to somebody that is outside of the organization instead of people that are in-house in the organization, right? So like you said, I think it's pretty unfair to point to Rick Brunson and say he's the reason why Jalen Brunson is not here with the Mavs anymore. No, the reason why Jalen Brunson is not with the Mavs anymore is because you, Mark Cuban, fumbled the bag. So from going on forward, Mark Cuban, he's not a shark anymore. He's a guppy. Go ahead, Phil.
That's great. And that's the thing. To Hector's point, you can't blame what happened here because you didn't do something here. Like if you would have given him that 50-something million that he would have resigned for early last season, we wouldn't be in this place where you're complaining that you didn't give him the 120 whatever million. Like the reason you didn't get to this point is because you dropped the ball here. And so my whole thing for Mark Cuban is take some freaking responsibility. Like admit where you dropped the ball. Don't blame it on someone else, especially when it comes to a father. Like I don't understand what kind of mentality that is. Like as a father, I hope to be able to speak into my boys' lives through and through until the day I die. So whether they go into something that I'm knowledgeable in or something that I'm not knowledgeable in, I want to be able to give my 2 cents. But if they come into something that I am extremely knowledgeable in, it would be foolish for someone to think that they don't talk to me about it. Like, you think Steph and Seth Curry don't talk to their pops? You know, you don't think that Jalen Brunson's going to talk to his pops, who he like fell in love with the game by watching courtside as his dad was a professional player and then moved into coaching? You think that people are going to complain if LeBron and Bronny end up playing together, even though LeBron has straight up said, wherever my son gets drafted, I will go? Like, father-son duo? Like, it's only an issue because it didn't work out for him. If it worked out and they were thriving right now, Mark Cuban would not be talking anything about Jalen and his dad's combination. He would not. He's only doing it because he needs something to say, all attention is on me. I screwed this up. I then brought in Kyrie Irving thinking that was going to work, and that was a dumpster fire. How do I get some attention off of me? Because right now, my main all-star player is crying to the national media about a decision that I made. So it's just deflecting. And as someone that I've liked Cuban, this is a poor representation of his character, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all of you, right? I mean, it's not just our fan base, it's everybody talking about it, right? Like, come on, it's a cop-out. Would he accept that answer from any of his Shark Tank investments if they came to him and be like, oh, you know what, that deal didn't go through because their dad got involved? You know what I mean? Like, how do you come to the table with that, right? And it's a perfect example. We've all seen it. We've seen it with our fan base. We've seen it with the Nets recently. When you have a losing record, when you're going through those trials and tribulations and, you know, you're dealing with that and you have that circus show going on, you look for any answer. I'm just shocked Mark Cuban, being the man that he is, at the level that he is, not just in sports, but in business, to come out and make that the excuse. One, it's ridiculous. And two, you're literally saying it's a bad thing that the man was talking to his dad. Whether it's true or not, I would hope he's talking to his dad. You know, like, that's the whole point of having a family and a father you can trust and rely on. So it's, you know, it's just a crying moment. It's a bad look, but you know what? It's like the cherry on top for what they're going through with their season, right? So it's a clown show. Move on. You're done, Cuban. How you doing?
Play the
Yeah, no, it's definitely, you know, just a weird kind of time. You know, I think it's, you know, horrible timing, you know, because the Mavs are out of the plan. So it obviously comes off like a gigantic excuse for why your team is not successful this year, which is just, you know, I don't really think you should be doing that. You know, and they went ahead and traded for Kyrie Irving. So that kind of was signaling like, maybe, okay, we don't need Jalen Brunson. We got Kyrie Irving now, and they're still not good. So it's kind of like, you know, I don't know why they went ahead and blamed, you know, the father. Like you said, you know, they shouldn't have been, you know, I would hope they were talking to the parents because, like, you know, this, at the end of the day, these are these guys' jobs. You know, these guys have to move locations and stuff when they sign new contracts or get traded or whatever. That affects the family. That doesn't just affect the player, you know? So I would absolutely hope that they're talking to them.
How great is it, though, that Jalen has played so well that he has to make a comment like that for his fan base?
Exactly.
He has to sit there and make an excuse because our boy has been lights out all season. So a little selfish side of me loves the fact that he has to make excuses and we're the benefactors of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's like, you know, he's seeing what Brunson's doing this year and how much he, you know, kind of catapulted this Knicks team into competitiveness. And it's kind of like, dang, we just, you know, we missed out. We missed out. We could have had him, you know, and instead of saying that publicly, like, oh, we missed out, it's our fault, we should have brought him back. No, he went ahead and blamed people and pointed fingers. And I mean, that's kind of just, you know, that's the wrong way to go about it, in my opinion. 100%. I mean, it would have been much better if he just, you know, admitted that he was wrong and not bringing him back, and that, you know, he had the opportunities to bring him back, but Jalen didn't want to sign back, or they didn't get the opportunity to sign him back, or they just, whatever it was. He should have, you know, just owned up to the mistake of not bringing him back. You know, to be fair, I don't think anybody would have expected Jalen Brunson to be averaging 24 and 7 right away. But at the same time, the Mavs you know, there were people within the Mavs organization that saw what, you know, was in with Brunson. You know, Jason Kidd last year during the playoffs, you know, after Brunson had 41 against Utah, he literally said he's going to make a lot of money. Jason Kidd saw it. He knew, like, this kid's going to be really good. We need to keep this kid around. I want to keep this kid around on my team. He saw it. I guess Mark Cuban didn't. You know, whatever it was, I guess Mark Cuban did not see it, you know. And at the end of the day, you know, being an owner also does not equal having a good basketball mind. So he clearly just
Facts.
messed up on that, I guess, in my opinion. He fumbled it. He missed. It was just not. He didn't work it out right. It happens, And at the end of the day, it would have been better if he just admitted that instead of causing all this drama around the Knicks for really no reason. You're kind of just blaming another team for your misfortunes when that's really not fair to do. So that's
like when my kids blame. It's like when my kids blame their brother or their sister, right? It wasn't me. It was his fault. He did it. I'm like, it's
exactly.
just so dumb.
Yeah.
It's just a good time to be a Knicks fan when James Dolan is not the butt of the joke. It's Mark Cuban this time, right, Dylan? Like, it's a good time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. We're in the driver's seat now. We're the ones that are we're the ones benefiting. But moving on to the next topic, really, I want to go towards the playoff round here. These next two games for the Knicks really don't matter. So there's really no point in discussing these next two games too deeply. So I'm gonna kind of just move on to the playoff matchup we have against the Cavaliers next week. It's going to be Jalen Brunson versus Donovan Mitchell in round 1 for the second consecutive year. Last year, Jalen Brunson obviously took out Utah in the first round, with his phenomenal performance, which got him the contract he got with the Knicks. So that should be exciting. The Knicks and Cavs just played each other last week, and they both of them had like an epic duel, and Brunson ended up outplaying Mitchell despite Donovan Mitchell dropping 42 points, which is just amazing to see. We still don't know how Randall will be healthy in the first round or not. We don't know. We still don't know much about that. Hopefully we have him for that because I think we need him big time. But in the meanwhile, we do still have Jalen Brunson. So for the moment, it's going to be, a big matchup. Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, once again, round 1. Should be an exciting playoff matchup. But I kind of want to hear your guys' take on, like, how far, this series could go. Who could take this series? What are the Knicks' chances of being able to beat the Cavaliers in the first round? How many games it could go? Things like that. I'll start with Hector. You go first.
Well, great. I appreciate the question. Shout out to our guy, Lee Acevedo, over at the Nick of Time show, because we was having a conversation with him on Wednesday, and I'm sipping the Kool-Aid, Dylan. Right, we are going to the NBA Finals, right? I am on the board with my guy Lee Acevedo. I know I may be a rambunctious Knicks fan, but I'm going to say when it comes to this team, you see the young guys now coming off of the bench that their confidence is growing, right? You got the rumors now going around about how the Knicks are looking to sign Carmelo Anthony. I'm not sure how true that's going to be. With Julius Randle, his injury, it puts us in a tricky situation because we know Julius Randle, he's our dog. He's one of our top guys on this team. You can't replace 25 points per game and 10 rebounds per game just like that. It's not very easy to play that. But what it does allow is it allows the team and everybody else to eat, because everybody wants to point to the fact that Obi Toppin, he doesn't rebound that much. But when you got Mitchell Robinson averaging 15 plus rebounds since Julius Randle has been out, we need Obi Toppin to run the floor. Allow Mitchell Robinson to be that defensive rebounder, to be that rebounding monster we know he is. Allow Obi Toppin to open up the floor, drive the floor. It brings so much, it brings a different dynamic to our offense, right? And also, throw those scouting reports out the window, because all season teams have been preparing for us with Julius Randle. Now that we don't have Julius Randle, they're scrambling to try to figure out what's the scouting report for the first round. I'm not going to say the Cavaliers is going to be an easy opponent. Not at all. I don't want to be that kind of guy. 6-7 game series. I think the Knicks handle it. And this is just the perfect storybook ending to this season. Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, first round of the playoffs. I'm all here for it. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, very similar. I do believe we take this one. But I also think that in order for us to take it, there's going to be two things that really matter. First, we can't take it lightly because we beat them this last game. Because what we have to realize is two things. One, it's going to mean a little more to Donovan Mitchell going into the playoffs, redeeming his encounter with Jalen Brunson last year. And these are the kind of guys that are so on board with having Donovan Mitchell. You better believe that they are rallying and taking that chip on his shoulder, and they are wearing it as well. Like, they want to show up for Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs, so they are going to play hard. Second, we didn't see Jared Allen in that last game, okay? And I was at the Cavs Orlando Magic game the other day watching Jared Allen thrive, and it was a lot harder for players like ours to get into the paint like we did. And so they're going to try and make it super hard on Jalen Brunson to drive to the paint with the twin towers of Mobley and Allen. So what we need to do is we need to utilize all the strengths that we have. Whether Julius Randle is back or not, we can't just say Julius Randle's here. We're going to stick to this regimen that we've worked on all year. Tibbs has to be flexible because they are going to find ways. Like Heck said, they've been studying this game plan. It's not a hard game plan to study because we've stuck with it so much ever since the start of the season. So to be able to see what we've seen these last few games where we have other things that we can bring out and throw at them is going to be important for Tibbs to actually go into his bag and switch it up when things aren't working. Flexibility is going to be huge for us winning this series.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a storybook, right? It's been a movie this entire season, right? The guys can confirm. I mean, it was episode 2 when we started the Knicks Morning Brew this season that I said we will get the Cavs first round of the playoffs. I was confident of that because I saw the way the movie was going to play out, and we all started to see it, right? Keys to the game. You remember just a couple months ago, remember when Luka in his press conference said, oh, we know their style. We know what they're going to do. We know that ISO style, right? Teams were calling us out about we don't have to game plan. We know what they're doing. What we've been able to see with Julius out is you can't really plan. We've got guys that are up and down all over the court. We've got a man like Ihart stepping up to be another true second center for us, right? So it's putting us in that position even on the rebound game where you don't need Obi to grab that rebound. We don't. We got our guys that are handling that. Obi, get your butt down there. Don't stay in the corner. Get down there and go wherever you want and get us some points. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a fantastic series. If we got a little taste of it the other day, it's going to be a fantastic series. Can I see it going 7? 100%. I think it's going to be a battle. I think every second of every game there's not going to be a blowout on either side. We're about to have a series, and not just to have the homer pick, but I really do see our Knicks taking it. I see them beating Cleveland. I don't think Donovan gets his story of the Knicks didn't get me. Haha, I beat them. I think we get the haha Mark Cuban. Haha, everybody that's doubted us. Haha, we beat them, and I'm excited.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say is we've said this over and over and over again. We have what we believe is the strongest bench in the NBA, but it does us no good if we don't use them. Like that is going to be key. Like we can have the best bench and not utilize them in the playoffs and get torched, or we can utilize the fact that we do have the best bench, that we have a better bench than Cleveland, and that will set us apart is we actually use what we have.
No, yeah, I definitely agree, and I also agree that, the Knicks can take this series, 6 or 7 games. It's going to be a competitive series. Cleveland's a good team. It's not discrediting Cleveland, it could really go either way, really, in my opinion. Both teams might be about as good as each other. Cleveland might have a little bit of the edge just because they have Mitchell, but we have the deeper team. So both teams have their pros and cons here. And, just like Phil said, the team has to use their bench, right? We got to take advantage of, Cleveland's significantly weaker bench compared to ours. We have the 6th man of the year in Quickley. We have Hart, Hartenstein and Obi, of course, coming off the bench. When Randall's healthy, we have a strong bench. We have that bench mob. It's back. I confidently can say that. So, but that being said, I do think the Knicks can win this series, and I'm going to go 7. Knicks in 7. I do think this is going to be a 7-game series just because, these two teams this is probably the most even first-round matchup you might have in the entire playoffs. Quite frankly, this type of matchup is a type of matchup I wish we got in like the second round with like the Eastern Conference Finals on the line or something, because I expect it to be that good of a series. You know what I mean? I expect, and with all the storylines, of course, Donovan Mitchell and the Knicks, Jalen Brunson against Donovan Mitchell last year. I mean, it just makes sense. It makes sense for a great first-round series. Great playoff series. Like I said, I wish it was in the second round or something like that just for more excitement, but at the end of the day, it's still a playoff series, so that's still going to be exciting nonetheless. So looking at that, I really hope that we just they just keep their foot on the gas in the playoffs. They don't let up. They don't slow down. They've still been winning games right now. I know these games are kind of just mop up. They're just playing them because they're on the schedule. The season kind of is already over. But they had some very impressive wins that were important before that. Like, for example, the Cavaliers win, the Heat win. Games like that were important. We took those, and we took those pretty. They weren't like easy, but we took them. Fair and square, we took them. So, with that being said, I do think we have a good chance in this first round series. So I'm hoping that, they just continue doing that. But, moving on to the next topic, really, I want to talk about Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes, over the past couple weeks, he's been a lot better. He's gotten himself involved in the offense a whole lot more. Over his last 7 games, he's averaging over 20 points a game, and he's shooting the ball really well, like 45% from 3 or something like that. He's shooting really well. And this was even before Randall's injury too, that he was, starting to involve himself in the offense more. He was taking more shots. He was looking to attack the basket too as well. He's looking to kind of just do everything on offense rather than kind of just passing up shots or, driving into the paint and passing it, which, at times is great, but at times there is such a thing as passing the ball too much, and it can lead to turnovers and stuff like that. For a guy that we have starting at shooting guard, we need him to, score. That's why he's on the floor, not just for defense, to also score. We know he can shoot. We know how good of a shooter he is when he's locked in, right? And right now he is locked in, and which is a very good sign to see, as the playoffs approach, because I'm hoping he can enter the playoffs, on this high note and kind of, keep that going in the playoffs. Do I expect Quentin Grimes to be dropping 25 a night in the playoffs? No, of course not. But what I hope Quentin Grimes can, hit a few threes, get, like 10, between 10 and 15 points a night in the playoffs. I would love that. I would love to see him involve himself in the offense more. Quite frankly speaking, his minutes probably will decrease in the playoffs just because, we have like Josh Hart that will probably get a lot more minutes. Quickley's going to get his minutes. Of course, you got to play RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, all those guys, right? So with that being said, of course, Grimes won't see the floor as much, but when he is on the floor, I would love, me personally, I would love to see him, keep involving himself in the offense like he is right now. Because if any of you guys notice, the offense flows much better when he is involving himself. That's at least how I see it. That's my takeaway on it. The offense flows so much better when he's actually shooting the ball and he's taking his tough layups. I didn't know he had that. I knew he was sneaky athletic, but he posterized somebody the other night.
I was waiting.
I didn't know he had that kind of bounce. Like he did it the other night. I was like, if he can do that, I need him to do, attack more, do all these things more. Like, don't keep this in the vault. Like, let it out. We need this right now. As the playoffs are here, we need, more scoring depth would be amazing, right? Anyways, just looking at that and how Quentin Grimes has been heating up, I kind of want to hear you guys take away on Grimes and how important he'll be, for this upcoming playoff series. I'll start with Hector first.
Well, super importance, right? We've all watched Sesame Street growing up as children, right? So the word of the day is called confidence, right? When it comes to Quentin Grimes, you've seen the confidence he has started building up over these past few games, especially given a bigger role on the offensive side of things. Quentin Grimes, if people don't remember, when he was in high school, he was coming up as a point guard. Same thing with Emmanuel Quickley. They were both coming up as point guards. It wasn't until they got to college that they was moved over to the shooting guard position, right? So having two guys that could be next to Jalen Brunson that played point guard, when they were in high school and were scouted as point guards, I think is a big key for us going forward. But when it comes to Quentin Grimes, like you said, Dylan, that dunk, I didn't know he had that in the bag. He's shown us how versatile he is. He's not just a guy you could just park out there on the 3-point line and just wait for him to catch and shoot. No, he's a guy that could take you off dribble. He's a guy that could get into the passing lanes, and if he can dunk it on you, he's going to dunk it on you. And we saw it in the last game that he played. Quentin Grimes is looking like a dog, and I am so happy that this front office, as much as a phenomenal player Donovan Mitchell is, as much as I love Donovan Mitchell's game, I'm happy that this front office didn't pull the trigger, gut this roster, gut out draft picks in order to get Donovan Mitchell, because you can see the young guys, how they're playing when it comes to Obi, IQ, and Quentin Grimes. It's just phenomenal to watch. Over the past 20 years, us Knicks fans, we've been heartbroken. We haven't had a team like this. This is the best group of young kids that we have had in a long, long time. The last time I can say that the Knicks probably had a young group of young core players was when they drafted Quentin Grimes. When they drafted Channing Frye, Nate Robinson, and David Lee. Besides that, this young group that we got right now is special.
Yeah. So I'm going to read a quote. If you didn't know, he just had an article released in Up Rocks magazine. And one of his managers and longtime close friends had a quote, and it seriously defines him perfectly. He said, he just knows how to get to where the moon is. The other guys are good, but they can't get to the moon. And this guy has his sights set on the moon. So for me, Quentin Grimes has a ceiling that is insane. There was lack of consistency in the beginning, but I think a lot of that had to do with his confidence, being able to feel like he fit into this system and that he was okay to be who he was. And now that he has that confidence, you see his shot goes up quickly. His shot goes up confidently. His shot goes up a lot easier and a lot more than it was before, because he could be like 3 for 3, but he only took 3 shots. Or he could be 1 for 1, but he only took 1 shot. Now he's letting him fly because he's got that confidence. He's got his eyes set on the moon and he's going there. I think what we have to do is we have to not try and tame this young guy in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
We need to allow him to run free. We need to allow him, regardless of whether Randall's back or RJ's back, we cannot take away some of these touches that Quentin Grimes has been able to operate with, because having that in our tool and having that as a part of our arsenal keeps the defense on kind of like their tiptoes, because this is the kind of guy that can stop and shoot, or he could drive immediately, and you have to be ready for him to do both on the drop of the dime. That little fake that he does seems to get 9 out of 10 people every time he does it. The only thing that ever stops him with that is if he moves his feet before they're done jumping and he doesn't dribble before. So if he is able to like do these things in the playoffs, he's going to be a secret weapon for us. Like, he's going to be somebody that's going to set us apart from other teams. So I'm glad to see the progression of Quentin Grimes. I really think that this is the kind of guy that you build around.
If I can, I just want to add one thing before Jigga go, because you brought up the whole pump fake thing. If you guys watch film, if you guys watch what Quentin Grimes does, if you go back and you study like the defensive drills in high school and stuff like that, AAU, when Quentin Grimes sets and he does a little pump fake, both of his feet are set. What happens sometimes in the NBA is that you're giving the key to your defender if you lift up your right or your left leg, showing them that you're just pump faking, waiting to drive. What Quentin Grimes does, he sets both feet as he pump fake, and that's what tricks the defenders, because they're looking to see if you're either your right or your left leg is giving a little hesitation or a little pathway that they're either going to go right or left. Go ahead, Jigga.
I said it this morning on the show. To me, Grimes will be the X factor for us in these playoffs. Okay. We beg to see the kids play. And this is what happens when you give them time. They're able to find that confidence. And also to unpack, I didn't know I was supposed to stop watching Sesame Street, Hector. You said when we were kids. Am I not supposed to pop that on anymore?
Well, I haven't stopped watching Power Rangers or Pokemon.
All right, good. Just make sure we admit that. But, being able to see him, right? Everybody looks at when he was having the mishaps was, he's just overthinking and he's nervous. Yeah, when you have a limited amount of minutes and you're trying to figure out everything in that time, you're overthinking everything. Now, when he knows he's having that freedom to move around, you said it best. When he posterized the other day, I was like, huh? He has that? I'm already love what this kid can do, and he has that? Same thing with watching Opie, right? As another example, step back 3. Like, there's just so much we're seeing from the young guys now that they're getting that confidence. They're able to gel. I truly believe if he continues to get the opportunities that he's getting right now, he will be a major X factor for us, not only in the series, but all the way to the finals.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. Quentin Grimes is definitely going to play a big role. Even if his minutes do decrease, when he is on the floor, he is going to matter. He's going to be an important piece. So, if he keeps playing like this and he keeps doing this into the playoffs, that's great. Like I said, you can never have too much scoring depth, right? You would love that. So, anyways, we're going to try to wrap this up a little bit. But, first, before I, give off my closing remarks, I was wondering if you guys had any, closing statements you wanted to give out, where people can find you, or, what you guys do, what show you guys do, all that stuff, let the people know, man.
Well, first of all, Dylan, I appreciate the conversation. Shout out to you. Shout out to Ryan. Shout out to the entire Fireside family, whether it's Fireside Knicks, Fireside Yankees. You guys are killing it with the content. But yeah, you can find me host on the Yankees Morning Brew, Knicks Morning Brew as well, NYY News TV. I do work over there with my guy Pete Seminetti with Get Yank and Game Season Live. Tomorrow morning, actually, I'm going to be on SNY with our guy Dexter Henry to talk about the Knicks and the Pelicans. So you can catch me on SNY tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and I'm Phil Porto, Knicks Morning Brew, more things in the works on the off season. Just follow me, Brew Crew Sports _ because my Twitter got jacked. And yeah, we just want to thank you, thank you so much for having us on. The only closing statement I'd say is, regardless of who is your favorite player on this team, remember that we're all wearing the same orange, blue, and black. Like, we're all representing the same team. Don't be a fan of a player that you stop being a fan of one another and supporting each other. So I'm just looking forward to these playoffs. I think we're going to go far. And once again, like Hector said, you guys are killing it. And so we thank you for bringing us in and being part of it. And if anyone's watching, this guy killed it on our show earlier this season. So head to our channel and watch that episode because it was an honor to have him on as well.
Definitely was.
Shout out Dylan. You know, we're big fans, man. Ryan, aka Johnny Bryant, backstage doing your thing. Appreciate you. He will agree with this statement, right? As a guy that loves the Yankees as well. There's no name on the back of the jersey for a reason. Going into these playoffs, we've been calling this all year long. Put your anger, put your toxicity, put all that away and focus on the fact that we are one fan base behind our team looking to get every W we can get. I'm excited for the run. I'm excited for the future. If you like sports, whether it's football, baseball, hockey, I'm doing it all, right? So come check out Knights of Degen at Knights of Degen. You can check out our website at knightsofdegen.io. Of course, follow us, subscribe to Brew Crew Sports, and you can follow me on Twitter at Gigaporto. And I know we've said it a couple of times, but Dylan, man, we love what you guys do.
Definitely,
we love
definitely.
the connection we've made with you guys, and we really appreciate you having us.
We'll look forward to doing a lot more work in the future. Playoffs is coming up. Dylan, Ryan would love to collab on some playoff videos if you guys are down for it.
Yeah, man, we'll work those things out. But, first off, it's great having you guys on here. And, to give my closing statement kind of, just, whatever happens this playoff series, let's just enjoy it for right now. We haven't had a season this successful in a very long time. So let's enjoy this right now. Let's not, get in the way of, worrying about who we need to trade or who we need to get rid of. Let's not worry about that right now.
Don't worry. I'm pouring your cup of Kool-Aid, Dylan. You're going to be sipping the Kool-Aid with me. All right. I'm pouring it for you, baby.
Yeah. Let's just, enjoy this right now. Let's hope for a great playoff series. I hope we can get far. I'm optimistic we can make it. We can make some noise, but, regardless of what happens, let's enjoy this right now. We got to remember it's a process. We're not going to instantly jump to a finals team right now. It's a process. We would love to get to the finals this year, and I would love that just as much as the next guy. But, we got to remember it's a process at the end of the day. So just keep that in mind, and let's just enjoy this. Let's enjoy this. Right, it's been a roller coaster of a season, but right now we're coming into the playoffs hot, which I love. So let's just keep that going. And to kind of wrap this up, I'm obviously Dylan. You can find my Twitter. It's up above me, and also make sure you follow Fireside Knicks. Make sure you follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, of course, because this is what you're watching it on. And just make sure you follow us. You guys have been awesome with the support. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Give us follows on Twitter and TikTok, all that. We really appreciate that stuff. And make sure you go follow these guys, man. Go follow Knicks Morning Brew. Go follow Hector, Phil, Jiggaman, and all these guys. Follow them. They're great people. Like they said, I appeared on their show a few weeks ago. It was amazing. I had an amazing time talking to Knicks with these guys. And they're just great people. So make sure you give these guys their support as well. They'll really appreciate that. And that's gonna be it for this. So we'll see you guys next time. Peace.